You thought you left it behind, didn't you? That version of you, the broken one, the rebellious one, the ashamed one, you buried it, prayed over it, fasted over it, and declared it dead. But now it's resurfacing like a ghost that refuses to stay in the grave. And you're wondering why, especially now that you're trying to walk closer with God. This isn't just nostalgia or emotional residue. This is spiritual warfare disguised as memory, a divine confrontation dressed as a recurring pattern, because what you thought was over still has roots. And God doesn't just trim branches, He uproots strongholds. Your past is resurfacing not to shame you, but to reveal where healing was incomplete, where forgiveness was partial, and where identity was still tangled in the version of yourself you pretend doesn't exist. You quote 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17, "If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation." But forget that transformation isn't just about erasing your past, it's about redeeming it. God doesn't waste your history. He uses it to expose hidden idols, buried lies, and behaviors you've spiritualized instead of surrendered. Some of the cycles you keep reliving aren't attacks from the enemy. They're echoes of trauma that never met the truth. Soul wounds that festered under the surface while you wore your Sunday best. That relationship that fell apart, that addiction you thought was gone, that anger that flares up when you're alone. They're not random. They're attached to roots that God is now bringing into the light, because what's hidden can't be healed. Luke 8:17. Sometimes God lets your past interrupt your peace to warn you that you've mistaken survival for deliverance. You coped, you moved on, you called it healing, but your heart still bleeds when no one's watching. And God, in His mercy, is not letting you fake freedom anymore. Don't be shocked if the same temptation shows up with a new face, or the same fear whispers with a different tone. Satan is unoriginal but patient, and what you don't conquer, you repeat. This is why the Israelites wandered 40 years for an 11-day journey, because it's possible to leave Egypt physically and still live there mentally. Exodus 13:17. Your resurfacing past is not proof that you're failing. It's evidence that God is calling you deeper. The same God who forgave David for murder and adultery didn't erase the consequences, but He transformed them into a platform for purpose. Psalm 51. What you hate most about your past may be the very thing God uses to break chains in others. If you stop hiding it and start surrendering it, stop asking why it's coming back, and start asking what God is trying to heal. Sometimes, the pain you buried has become the voice that sabotages your worship, the lens that filters how you see God, and the lie that tells you you're too dirty to be used. But Romans 8:28 doesn't just say all things work together for good. It says for those who are called, meaning the mess, the shame, the failure, all have a purpose if you're willing to give it back to the one who sees the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46:10. You keep praying for peace, but God keeps digging up the past because He's not interested in surface level faith. He's after full restoration. And yes, it hurts. Healing always hurts before it helps. But the deeper the wound, the more glory He gets when it's healed. You're not being punished, you're being purified. You're not being haunted, you're being called. The enemy wants you to believe this is a setback. God says it's a setup. He's revealing what still owns part of your heart so you can finally walk in full authority. You're not in a loop, you're in a refinement. But refinement feels like repetition when you're resisting it. Stop asking God to take it away and start asking Him to teach you what it still controls. Because until you let Him into that room, the door stays cracked for the enemy to enter. This is the season of reckoning. The version of you that learned how to pretend, survive, perform, or hide is being stripped so that the true you, the healed, Holy Spirit-filled you, can finally stand up and walk in power. The reason your past is resurfacing now is because your future is too important to be built on fragments. What God is about to do in you requires a foundation free from rot, and He loves you too much to build anything sacred on unhealed wounds. So He's bringing it all back, not to shame you, but to set you free. Don't resist it, face it. Bring it to the cross. Let Him redeem it, because nothing surrendered to God ever stays wasted. And your past, no matter how dark, is just the backdrop for the glory He's about to reveal in your life. Romans 8:18.